What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down why on earth where NIO moves over the next couple of trading days is going to really depend on some important data that comes out. So I'm going to break down why that data is going to be huge, what you should be watching for, and also why on earth the markets may actually see a bit of a bounce next week. I think there's going to be a little bit of downside just to start off next week, just a little bit before a big bounce, and we're probably going to get a first week rally for the year. Now, I don't think the rally is going to last forever. I think it's going to last about a week before the second week of January comes and then the big crash starts. So I'm going to talk about this, how this may affect NIO, what data is coming out, and everything you need to know about the forecasts for NIO. Now, before I break anything down though, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is any could be a free NIO share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 1 day. So check it out before they run out to get your 12 free stocks. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So I want to note something very important, guys. Today is the last trading day of the year. And typically during this time, we tend to see the market sell off just a bit, which is completely fine. And I also want to note that for the start of 2023, the market's going to be closed on Monday. So there's not going to be any trading on Monday. Okay, we have a 3-day holiday coming up. For Tuesday, the market's going to reopen, and then we are going to see some volatile moves. Where is NIO going to go? Well, in my opinion, it's going to depend on some data and also the overall market. What is the overall market going to do? Just to start us off, here's what I'm seeing on SPY. We did come down a bit. We almost filled the gap down here. The two possibilities are we either come down a little bit for Tuesday, get a bounce around this 376 area, forming a higher low. Then we see the market rip to the upside, and we see this thing not just stop at 384, but it continues to go for these gap fills, and we see it approach that 390 zone I've been talking about for the past couple of days. I also believe that we could see 390 by Friday of next week. It still is very possible, and I still believe we're going to see that counter trend rally. Now, I also want to note something else that's important, and that's the fact that if SPY does see a small rally, it's not going to last forever. It's obviously going to be temporary. And what else could happen is maybe we don't even finish filling this gap down here. Maybe we just start ripping as soon as Tuesday comes. That's also possible. But I am anticipating a more bullish week for next week, just to start off the year before a big drop comes afterwards. Now, if you want more like data on this, let me actually just pull up the start of 2022. I want to note something very important about it. So, looking at where is it, 2022, the market had a very similar trend. Okay, and you have to remember when January tends to perform not as well, we know the market tends to not do as well for the remainder of the year. Now, looking at December 2021, right before 2022 started, look at what happened. We had this like Santa rally, we pushed up by the 28th, and then what happened to the market after that? The market went from 471 and it actually came down by the end of the year to about 466. So we had a small drop near the end of 2021 before 2022 started, and we actually had a rally until the 4th of January, and that's when we broke the high. We saw 472 on SPY, and then after that, by the second week of the year, we started to see the crash, and SPY crashed. Okay, so I think we're going to see something very similar just to start off 2023. All right, we had a bit of a sell-off to end this year. Are we going to see a small bounce to start off 2023 similar to what we saw in 2022? I believe the answer is yes. That's what I believe is going to happen. One last counter trend rally before the big crash comes. Now, what is NIO going to do? What is NIO going to do? We've seen NIO just take hits after hits throughout this year. The small caps and mid caps were getting destroyed. But I do believe that NIO, well, first off, if we ignore the data that's coming out, NIO should bounce with the market, at least a little bit if we do get a bit of a rip. We also have a gap very close in the tens. We could actually fill that gap. So theoretically, from a technical standpoint, yes, NIO could bounce. But what's going to be even more impactful is going to be the deliveries report that comes out. It's going to be coming out, I believe, it's going to be for the month of December. So the data is going to be coming out, in my opinion, between maybe the 1st or 2nd of January, around that time. And this is going to really affect how NIO moves, because we're going to see the deliveries for Q4 in total as Q4 is coming to an end. And remember, their estimate is supposed to be between 38,500 to 39,500. I've been saying about 39,000 is what the new estimate is, which is a little bit lower than what the previous guidance was. So we have to see the data first. We're going to see it on the internet and also NIO's Twitter page. They actually talk a lot about that. And we're getting ready for the end of the year. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And as far as NIO's performance goes, the price price ratio is starting to drop a little bit, showing some weakness for NIO. But as I mentioned before, many analysts are still saying to hold on to NIO. They're still quite bullish long term. We could get one last temporary bounce before the bigger drop. I do think NIO is set to drop too with the market, but before the drop starts, the market could help NIO push up, and the deliveries report may even help NIO. We'll just have to wait and see how that comes out too. The short interest, let me just find it right here, it's starting to actually respect an uptrend. It's starting to actually come up, go up a little bit, which is a sign that there's been a lot more shorting. And on top of that, once the big data comes out, it's going to be very telling as to what we see NIO end up doing. Now, many investors are still very, very apprehensive about 2023 for the EV sector, especially in China, as we are seeing more and more cases of the virus. But I'm still not losing faith in NIO, because I believe, okay, that NIO has crazy, crazy potential going forward when the recovery phase comes. We're not in the recovery phase yet for the EV sector. It's going to take some time, and once we get there, things are going to improve. Now, when I say that, we're going to have to watch for the earnings. How does NIO do during earnings? Are we still getting closer to profitability? Are we still doing better? That's going to also affect us. But we still have quite a bit of time before any earnings reports actually start. So what do I expect for NIO for the short term? All right. Like I said before, if the market bounces, that could actually help NIO bounce a bit. If not, I mean, I do believe that's going to happen. But besides that, we also have the deliveries report. If things come out better than expected, NIO does have potential to form an inverse head and shoulders like formation and come back up to the $10 zone, which is where this gap happens to be. If NIO does very well in its deliveries, it could actually come back to this zone right here between 10.27 to about 10, and maybe even go higher. I mean, we actually have some gaps way up here. Could NIO go to the high 10s? It is possible. We're going to need a good deliveries report in order for us to achieve that, to fill this gap up here. I don't really know if that's going to happen, but we'll just have to wait and see. But you have to remember, NIO did lower their guidance. NIO did tell us initially they wanted to give us 43 to 48,000 deliveries. Now they're saying it's going to be like 39,000. So that's not the best of signs, seeing them lower their targets. But as long as they actually meet the expectations and actually give us a good report, there is still potential for this thing to bounce a bit, especially if the market does bounce with it. So we'll just have to wait and see how the report ends up going. It's going to be coming out in a couple of days. And that's basically it for the end of the year. So please be ready, guys. Remember, the market's going to be closed on Monday. We won't be back trading until Tuesday. And with that said, I just want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Please have an absolutely incredible rest of the day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.